Before we bring a ship alongside, we need to know the strength and direction of the forces which will be acting upon her at the moment when she comes to rest. Read the signs carefully as you approach. Check up what you know of the general set of the tidal stream with conditions closer inshore. Watch how vessels secured alongside are riding. Notice which of their shorelines are taut. Right alongside there may be slack water, or even a contrary eddy. It is essential to have this information in advance. Always approach against this combined force, in order to keep the ship under control of her rudder as long as possible. When stemming the tidal stream, the ship can be brought to rest opposite a point on shore while she is still carrying steerage way through the water.
Stop engines.
You can tell when she comes to rest if you watch shore objects come into line. You can then steer the ship crabwise gently alongside.
Port 15. Slow ahead. Midships, starboard 15. Midships, stop engine.
This craft is attempting to come alongside with the tidal stream.
All port.
Her rudder has lost control. It doesn't pay. Where the tidal stream isn't strong enough to assist in bringing your ship to rest, you will have to rely entirely on your engines going astern. Therefore, approach dead slow, and remember the pull of the lower blade. Approach with your bows at an angle to the jetty, which will leave room for your stern to swing in.
Port 20. Half astern.
Watch her losing headway, and remember to stop engines in time.
Midships, stop engines.
If you forget to stop engines, this happens. Don't forget the pull of the lower blade.
Port 15. Slow astern.
You can't expect much from your rudder just now, so if you haven't allowed enough room to swing, you're sure to bump. And if you come alongside with too much way on,
Half astern.
you'll bump pretty hard. Under the same conditions, when coming alongside starboard side 2, remember that going astern will swing your stern out. So approach close and parallel to the jetty. Start the bows swinging away,
Port 20.
like this, and go astern.
Half astern.
The two forces cancel out as she comes to rest.
Stop engines.
Half astern.
When the wind is blowing towards the jetty, there is a danger of coming alongside too heavily.
Stop engines.
Here the ship has time to gather broadside drift after she has stopped. So the approach must be made much closer.
Slow stern. Stop engines.
A twin-screw ship could approach well clear of the jetty, and when abreast the berth, let go the seaward anchor. Then, when she's drifting down to the jetty, the cable can check the bows, while the propellers can be used to keep the ship parallel to the jetty. This anchor is also useful for hauling the ship off when the time comes to go to sea again. But when lying alongside, anchors must be used with caution, or this will happen. Here the wind is blowing off the jetty. If you approach like this, the heaving lines may fall short, and you'll have to start all over again. So make sure you get your bows in first. When there is little tidal stream to help you, and a strong wind offshore, it pays to get a line onshore forward and fleet the shore end of this line along the jetty nearer the stern of the ship. Now you've got a backspring.
Starboard 20. Slow ahead.
That will bring the stern in nicely.
Stop engines.
When a ship is to remain alongside for some time, she is secured by head ropes and stern ropes, by springs and back springs, and by breast ropes to prevent her from blowing away from the jetty. When the tide is falling, the stern rope and the back spring will hold her against the ebb stream. And as the tide falls, you must see that all other wires, particularly the breast ropes, are eased in good time. You don't want the ship to be left hung like this. As the tide rises, the head rope and the spring will hold her against the flood stream. And you must tend your breast ropes, or you will lose the brow over the side. If this were a car standing alongside a curb, you would just turn the wheel and go ahead. But here we shall see that the stern has no room to swing in. And in any case, the lower blade will pull the stern out and the bows in before the rudder takes effect. That is why it is usual to turn the ship at an angle to the jetty before leaving. If you have neither wind nor tidal stream to help you, rig a backspring.
Port 20. Slow ahead. Stop engines. Midships, starboard 20. Half astern. Stop engines. Half ahead. Midships. Steady.
In a twin screw ship, you must avoid using the inner screw until clear of the jetty, or you may damage the blades. Perhaps the simplest case occurs when the wind is blowing offshore at slack water. Cast off all wires and hawsers together, and the ship sails away broadside.
Half ahead.
You may often find that you can use the tidal stream as a wedge to force the ship away from the jetty. If the ship is lying head to the stream, cast off all wires except the spring.
Starboard 10.
The wedge of water, pushed by the tidal stream between the ship and the jetty, will swing the bows out. If the ship is lying with her stern to the tidal stream, she can come away stern first by making use of the back spring.
Starboard 30. Midships, port 20. Half astern. Stop engines. Midships, starboard 15, blow ahead. Midships.
When a ship's engines are out of action, she can be shifted from one berth to another, or across a basin, by means of warps. Here again, you must plan ahead. Consider the forces acting on the ship, and be ready to check the way on the ship at any moment with a well-placed check line. The construction of certain types of craft tends to exaggerate some of the effects which we have been discussing. The trawler, for instance, draws much more water aft than she draws forward. This, added to her high freeboard forward, means that she will tend to pay off her head from the wind at all times, whether she has headway or sternway. She has a single screw, so look out for the pull of the lower blade, and watch her stern. Here is a single screw merchant ship in ballast. Her propeller is half out of the water, so you may count on the lower blade for a very pronounced transverse thrust. With that high freeboard, she will make a lot of leeway too, and you must not expect her to steer very well. This destroyer's twin screws are out-turning and very powerful. She is therefore easily turned on her heel. She pivots well forward, so the long hull gives her a tendency to fly into the wind when moving ahead. All these high-speed craft are very sensitive to the wind at low speeds on account of their light draft. Their powerful screws make turning easy, but in a high wind, you will almost have to sail them alongside. The pivoting point at high speeds is some distance ahead. Remember that the screws of light high-speed craft are either all right-handed or all left-handed. And their rudders are very small, so don't expect them to steer well after stopping engine. Landing craft are frequently fitted with screws all handed the same way, so look out for the pull of the lower blades when going astern. When deep loaded, they will take more stopping than when light loaded. And when light loaded in a strong breeze, the high freeboard will pay the bows off. For the same reason, you can expect them to make a lot of leeway. No two ships handle alike. When you take over a type which is new to you, lose no time in finding out how she responds to rudder, propeller, wind, and tidal stream. When bad seamanship results in a ship having to dock for repairs, another ship must take her place. Men and material have to be diverted from the vital work of building new ships to repair the damage caused by carelessness or inexperience in ship handling. It is up to you to acquire that experience as quickly as possible. See to it that no lack of care or forethought on your part will keep your ship in harbour when she ought to be doing her job at sea.